Good evening and welcome to the national debate. I'm Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan. Viewers, people of both Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir have sealed the fate of political parties, and the exit polls show advantage to National Conference and Congress's alliance in Jammu and Kashmir, but with independent candidates appearing to be holding the key. Exit polls have also predicted a clean sweep for Congress in Haryana. In this edition of the national debate, we will try and find out what impact will the poll results have on the upcoming state elections and the national picture as well. Let's quickly introduce our guests with us. We have with us in the studio Smita Prakash, editor of ANI. We also have Sushil Pandit, activist. Joining us also is Sabah Naqvi, senior journalist. Abid Mir Maqami is leader of the Congress party as well. Joining us from outside, we have Virender Sidhu, national spokesperson of the JJP. Reena Gupta is secretary of Delhi State of Aam Aadmi Party and national spokesperson of AAP. We also have with us from outside Sanjay Jha, author. But let me quickly take you through what are the factors as far as this particular election are concerned. First up, the poll of polls and the numbers as they are stacking up at the moment. This is the poll of polls for the state of Haryana, and this is where the matriz poll is. 21 for BJP, 59 for Congress, JJP 2, AAP at 0. People's Pulse is at 24 for BJP, 49 for Congress, JJP 1, others at 16 here, a large number being given to others there. Dhruv Research says 27 to BJP, 57 for Congress, AAP at 0, others at 6. P Mark is at 31 for BJP, 56 for Congress, JJP at 0 here, AAP at 0 and others at 3. So by and large, everybody has given Congress a comfortable majority. The poll of poll numbers, the bottom line, the yellow line there that you see is the final number as far as the poll of polls are concerned. This gives the BJP 26. 55 for the Congress party, JJP at 1, AAP at 0 and others at 8. Let's quickly take a look at some of the other factors as far as this entire election are concerned. Now, these are the important factors. The Jat factor is the first one that we're looking at in terms of percentage. Jats are 25%, OBCs are 33%, scheduled castes at 21. So the Jat plus Jatav factor that we've been talking about is very significant. If you look at the BJP in terms of the candidates that have been fielded by parties, Jats are at 16 for the BJP, OBCs at 22, SCs at 17. And as far as the Congress is concerned, Jats at 28. Very, very significant. You have Bhupinder Singh Hooda, who is, of course, a big face of the Congress, has been a two-term chief minister, virtually leading the campaign. You have scheduled castes at 17, OBCs at 20. Now, what is the Jat and Jatav factor and how is it going to impact this entire election? Here is how the communities are stacked up as far as Haryana Assembly elections are concerned. This is the dominance in the 2019 Assembly polls. Jatavs or the scheduled castes are at 21 for BJP, 15 for Congress, others at 13. Jats are at 19 for the BJP, 20 for the Congress, others at 18. Gujars at 7 and 3 for the BJP and the Congress, others 0. Brahmin 13 there for the BJP, 8 for the Congress, others at 4. Aurora or Khatri 13 for the BJP, 3 for the Congress and 1 for others. Ahir at 6 for BJP, 3 for Congress and 1. So that's as far as the communities are concerned and how the two dominant communities there, scheduled castes as well as Jats, are important. Now the Dalit factor is another important factor that we're talking about. This is as far as the 2019 Assembly poll is concerned. In 49 seats, that a Jatav population was above 10%. Moving on to the other fact that BJP won 21 of these seats in 2019, Congress 15 and others at 13. So this advantage for the BJP, will it continue, will it not? That's a big question. Section of Dalits want Kumari Selja as the chief ministerial face and not the Hoodas. This is another factor. Of course, we saw that spat play out publicly a few days ago as well. BSP, ASP, INLD and JJP attract a sizable SC voter population as well. Will that impact on the Congress as far as this election is concerned? Vote split negates some of the gains made by the Congress party. We're going to go into the other factors in Haryana in just a few minutes. Let me begin with these factors at the moment, and let me start with you. Smita Prakash, how much of this Jat and Jatav factor is going to make a big impact as far as this Haryana election? Because it is a very, very sizable vote bank, close to half the votes in Haryana.
Correct. And it seems like the Jats who made this all a prestige issue also and were on the farmers bill, they fought it on that, they fought it on anti-incumbency. So the Jats are a very vocal group out here. They want to grab the narrative, they want to grab power as soon as possible. They don't want it to slip away from the Jats. And the anti-incumbency factor has worked on that. They want a Jat as a chief minister. And that is what is going to play out even in post-result situation if the Congress comes to power, which is what it looks like. And I think the BJP has to do a lot of introspection. If these are the numbers that are going to come, they should have known for a fact that there was a dissonance with the people. They were not happy with the Khattar government. Saini was brought in too late, a change of chief minister phase. They relied too much on Khattar Saab, even though he was not clicking with the people. And after the farmers' agitation, after the wrestlers issue, after the Agnipath, anti-Agniveer protest that happened, they should have realized that the local issues are becoming strong. And Huda, who was keeping a back seat, he came up in front. In spite of the divided house that the Congress is, these are the numbers that the Congress is pulling out as far as the exit polls are concerned, then I think the BJP has a lot to think about, because they didn't do well in the 2024 general elections. It was too late to regroup for the Haryana elections and change. It's just not worked for them in Haryana. Whatever they tried, it was not working for them.
Okay. Shehzad Poonawala, BJP spokesperson, right here in our studio. Shehzad, answer those questions. A lot of thought process over there, thoughts really for introspection, if I can put it that way, for the BJP, judging by what is before us.
With due regard to Smitaji, I will leave the introspection / celebration for 8th. Because today we are discussing exit poll numbers, we are not discussing exact poll numbers, and Smita knows better than most, and I compliment her for the excellent work she's done over this entire assembly election stretch. She knows better than rest what they were saying about Madhya Pradesh. She knows better than rest what they were saying about my party in Chhattisgarh. Sab ne write out kar diya tha. I was made to answer all these questions on exit poll days, and then exact poll time, none of them were willing to take my comments. So anyways, my point is that we will have this discussion later, but I just want to give you a different perspective. 2009, BJP was nowhere in Haryana. 2024, out of that 15-year stretch, we formed 2 times government. We might form it for the 3rd time. We are a party that even in our worst case scenario, as per you, not as per me, as per you, we are at 25, 26 seats. BJP was nowhere in 2009. So from there to where we have come, and the trajectory of the BJP is actually, I mean, one can analyze that after 10 years, has there been anti-incumbency, have we managed to win, etc., etc. But I think that we have given a government that has worked for the people. Two things you notice. One thing, Smita, this is the first election, and promise me, nowhere even the opposition could say corrupt government hai. Nowhere one could say parchi kharchi wala system hai. Nowhere one could say daliton par atyachar wali sarkar hai. These are big things. We forget it very easily. Madha, how much you have covered the damad and dalal scams? One report you show me Times Now in the entire Haryana election cycle, if it has done corruption of BJP leader in Haryana.
All right, let's quickly pick up our guest from outside up on the big screen. I want Sanjay Jha to answer that question. Sanjay Jha, the quality of governance, the kind of issues, atrocities on Dalits, none of that happened during our regime, says the BJP spokesperson, and that's something that you have to give us credit for. Your response to that?
Madhav, when the BJP starts talking about celebrating their losses in a couple of days, it goes to tell you that they're clearly a very rattled political party, and it's about time. I heard Mr. Poonawala talk about why we should be celebrated. Really? May I remind Mr. Poonawala what the High Court judges had to say after the communal riots that happened in Haryana? They said, and these are the words of judges, are we experiencing ethnic cleansing here? Can you imagine judges talking about ethnic cleansing in our country? What a monumental shame for the BJP. So I can tell you this for a fact. We'll get into granular details on the 8th for sure, into where the votes came from, etc., etc. But Madhav, the larger message of these 2 results coming from Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana, which I think will be even progressively more in favor of the Congress and the India alliance, is the BJP's diminishing footprint that started with the Lok Sabha elections is now going to be in a fast forward. You wait till the Maharashtra results come, Delhi, Jharkhand and Bihar.
I'm going to get into the national picture in just a few moments, Sanjay Jha, but I want to bring in Virender Sidhu back on the point that we were making earlier. In terms of the voting, Virender Sidhu, whether it comes to Jats or Jatavs, बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है ये हरियाणा में, लेकिन इस बार लगता है इस पूरे फैक्टर का या कम्युनिटीज, इन दोनों कम्युनिटीज का साथ एटलीस्ट जजिंग बाय द एग्जिट पोल रिजल्ट्स जा रहा है कांग्रेस की ओर, और ये जेजेपी के लिए बहुत अच्छी खबर नहीं है.
देखिए, जो फैक्टर आप जाट नॉन जाट का है, ये हरियाणा में कभी भी नहीं रहा. आप इसी गवर्नमेंट को देखिए, 14 मिनिस्टर में से 5 कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर जाट थे. अभी राज्यसभा में 2 मेंबर जाट कम्युनिटी के हैं और हरियाणा के इतिहास में पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है कि एक पार्टी में 2 लोगों को राज्यसभा किसी एक जाति के और भी जाट जाति के भेजा हो। दूसरी तरफ उपराष्ट्रपति भी देश में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से जाट ही हैं। जाट नॉन जाट का इशू नहीं है। पॉलिटिकली जहां तक बात की जा रही है कि पॉलिटिकली स्ट्रॉन्ग करने की कोशिश नहीं की, ज्यादा ही पॉलिटिकली स्ट्रॉन्ग हुए हैं पिछले 10 सालों में जाट। 3 लोकसभा में मेंबर भी जाट है। कम्युनिटी के हिसाब से, परसेंटेज के हिसाब से उससे डबल परसेंटेज है राज्यसभा में, लोकसभा में और बाकी चीजों में। लेकिन हरियाणा में जो मुख्य मुद्दे रहे, जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने किया हरियाणा में, वो मुख्य अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का रहा। देखिए दिल्ली के तीनों तरफ ये स्टेट है, 10% डिफेंस में इसका कंट्रीब्यूशन है, 6% देश की जीएसटी में इसका कंट्रीब्यूशन है, 2% सिर्फ 2% ज्योग्राफिकल एरिया होने के बावजूद, सिर्फ 2% पॉपुलेशन होने के बावजूद भी 3.5% जीडीपी में इसका कंट्रीब्यूशन है। लेकिन हरियाणा की अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट पूरे देश में नंबर 1 पे है। गुजरात में 1%, मध्य प्रदेश में 1%, लेकिन हरियाणा में 6% से ज्यादा, जो कि यूनियन मिनिस्टर ने पार्लियामेंट में जो भी फिगर दिए। इतना बुरा हाल हरियाणा में बेरोजगारी का बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट ने किया कि हरियाणा के लोगों को अवैध तरीके से विदेशों में भागना पड़ा।
4 साल आपने क्यों नहीं किया कुछ उस वक्त?
क्योंकि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने, देखिए हम यही तो कह रहे हैं, हम 10 विधायकों के साथ सरकार में थे और मिनिमम 10 विधायकों के साथ जो भी हमारे मुख्य वादे थे, एक वादा हमारा था हरियाणा के लोगों को रोजगार देने का, हमने विधानसभा में पास करवाया और पूरे देश में हमने ही पास करवाया। एक वादा हमारा बुढ़ापा पेंशन का था, हमने हरियाणा में 3000 बुढ़ापा पेंशन की, जो किसी भी पूरे देश में किसी स्टेट में नहीं है। राजस्थान में बीजेपी की सरकार है, सिर्फ 1000 रुपए बुढ़ापा पेंशन, यहाँ पे 3000। हमने 14 फसलों को एमएसपी पे 10 विधायकों के साथ।
Farmers' issues are going to be a very important issue as well that we are going to discuss. Let's quickly bring that up on screen. And how much of an impact has the Kisan protest had on ground? Key demands of farmers were of MSP. How much of this Kisan factor is going to impact at least 30 to 35 seats where this can actually make a big difference? BJP's promises of procurement of 24 crops at MSP rate. The other big factor, of course, is Congress's promise, a legal guarantee for the MSP is what the Congress is talking about over here. So this, of course, is where the JJP and ESP alliance promise also comes in. Legal guarantee for MSP and minimum wages for farmers. Let me quickly bring in Sabha. Sabha, how much of an impact have these farmers' issues had on ground? Is it an issue that's been forgotten with the central government and the Prime Minister, taking back the farm laws? Is it something that still is a big factor in these elections?
Madhav, I feel it's a collective. What we saw in the Lok Sabha election is we saw in the BJP bastions in the Hindi belt is that there is something about youth not getting jobs, that disenchantment, Agniveer scheme. All of this is just that is the cocktail that is bringing them down. To an extent, I will agree with what Shahzad says. BJP is not a party that will get wiped out anywhere. It will, but there is a collective thing and you're going to see it. We saw the Lok Sabha result in Uttar Pradesh. We saw a decline even in Rajasthan. Just look at the maps. Western UP, Haryana, Rajasthan. We are seeing this disenchantment with something economic in the air. Let's accept that. That is what is happening in Haryana. So it's not even that people are going crazy कि हमें कांग्रेस ही चाहिए. It's as an assembly election it will be seat by seat, बिरादरी पे, कास्ट पे, जाति पे, बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स होंगे. लेकिन ये बीजेपी का वक्त अभी थोड़ा डाउन चल रहा है.
10 years of incumbency, you're saying, has
10 years और ये मूड एक जो देखा है, there is something economic about the youth.
Okay.
The youth is not happy. With उनको ये जो एग्जाम्स में भी there are many little things we can pull out. There is this whole disenchantment among the young.
All right.
We have to recognize
Sushil
that.
Pandit, do you agree with her analysis that there's multiple factors, there's unemployment, there's farmers' issues, there are several factors which are causing this kind of a result?
On the periphery, yes, it seems so. But this election was a no-wave election. I can agree that Congress looked or seemed to be the front runner in the last 1 month. But the overall enthusiasm about Congress was on the decline going towards the polling day. The best chance BJP has is in a hung house in Haryana, where new allies will be sought and new coalitions will be built. Last government of BJP was also a coalition government. Never forget. Even at the highest point mark for BJP in assembly, it was never beyond 50 seats. So BJP, while growing and consolidating its position on ground, is still very dependent. And you have to see whether the Jat grievance of loss of power and loss of dominance will gain traction with the Jat voters to the extent that Congress is swept into power, or the counterpoint, the backlash of non-Jat communities being reminded of the Jat dominance of those days would consolidate in favor of BJP. And it is very much a bipolar election with few smaller parties playing their roles in pockets.
So will
but
that-
with a hung house, BJP stands a very good
Okay,
chance.
just a few moments ago, Mr. Sindhu actually said that Jat or non-Jat CM is not a factor. Apparently, it was a factor in the last two elections. Will it continue to be a factor? That's a big question. I'm going to slip into a quick break, but I'm going to request Reena Gupta as well as Abidin Bagami to stay on with us, because on the other side, Reena Gupta, we're going to discuss the national implications of the verdict that is appearing to come out of Haryana. We're discussing the exit poll results for Haryana. What are the factors? What are the implications coming out of these numbers from Haryana? Quick look at the implications here on the big screen. This is, of course, in terms of the BJP being weakened in terms of its hegemony in the Hindi belt. The second implication that we're talking about is showing that Congress can win without relying on allies. Of course, in Haryana, it was in power for 2 consecutive terms before the BJP's 10-year rule. Congress proves ability to beat BJP in bilateral fights. Fourth implication, Congress's backing of farmers' protest has borne fruit, at least in the state of Haryana. Will it work in other states? We don't know. And this could have implications in upcoming polls as well. There are polls scheduled for Maharashtra, for Jharkhand and for Delhi. Further loss of momentum for BJP after drop in Lok Sabha seats. Congress's caste census pitch may have had an impact at assembly level as well. This is implication number 6. Possible implications for Delhi, which votes in February 2025. Let me quickly take this across to Reena Gupta. Reena Gupta, of course, for the Congress, this is great news. But what are really the implications for the Aam Aadmi Party? Because at the end of the day, many will say that if the AAP and Congress manage to fight it out together in Haryana, AAP could have very well been part of the government if these numbers are true.
Madhav, we'll still be part of the government. I can assure you that. हमारे बिना सरकार नहीं बनेगी. I respect your exit polls, but जिस दिन real नतीजा आएगा, उस दिन हम बैठ के फिर बात करेंगे. मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल दूंगी. आज सुबह खट्टर साहब ने ट्वीट किया था वोटिंग की एक फोटोग्राफ, और उसके पीछे एक डिलैपिडेटेड स्कूल था. In a few hours he had to delete that photograph because of backlash. तो 10 साल में हरियाणा में भारतीय जनता पार्टी स्कूल तक ठीक नहीं कर पाई. यही मुद्दों पे हमने हरियाणा में चुनाव लड़ा है. हरियाणा के लोग दिल्ली और पंजाब में आम आदमी पार्टी का बढ़िया काम देखते आए हैं. बहुत बढ़िया शानदार हमने चुनाव लड़ा है. लोगों का प्यार मिला है. बहुत बढ़िया कैंडिडेट्स हमने उतारे हैं, और मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि हमारी अच्छी सीट्स आएंगी और हमारे समर्थन के बिना सरकार नहीं बनेगी. आप देखिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने क्या किया. ना किसानों का, नौजवानों का, जवानों का, किसी भी एक भी मुद्दे पे ये काम नहीं कर पाए. जबरदस्त एंटी इनकम्बेंसी थी. एंड में उन्होंने चीफ मिनिस्टर चेंज करके
Reena ji, there are many hands going up in the studio of people who want to counter you. I'm going to allow them, and you can respond to them as well, one by one. Sabha Naqvi, and then come into Shahzad. Sabha Naqvi wants to respond to you.
I have no animosity towards Aam Aadmi Party. They made a very big strategic error in not agreeing to those 5 seats that the Congress offered them right now, because they also would like some arrangement for the Delhi election. They have made an error. Probably that Arvind Kejriwal ji was in Tihar jail, and they say that they did not even allow the people who would talk to him. So they have erred. Reena has to do a job, so she's going on saying this. It is going to be, they're not going to, at best maybe 1 seat. I'm so sorry, but that's it.
Okay.
And then and it is going to have implications, because it was generous of the Congress to offer them 5. But they said we want 10.
When they had the edge. When they had the edge.
When
Shahzad.
they had the edge, yeah.
Borrowing a poetic license from everyone standing here, I want to define AAP and Congress relationship. In Delhi, it was Hum Saath Saath Hai Lok Sabha. Then it became Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. Now it has become Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na. एक दूसरे के खिलाफ लड़ने के बाद बोल रहे हैं अभी भी हम सरकार में रहेंगे. भाई कैसे? दूसरी बात, वो कांग्रेस वाले now they have got so emboldened, they are saying कि आम आदमी पार्टी is corrupt. Mr. Devendra Yadav has said this. Mr. people from Punjab to anyway say it. Then you have Abhishek Dutt saying it.
Okay.
And this Congress, this आम आदमी पार्टी दिल्ली में साफ कर दिया, पंजाब में हाफ कर दिया, और हरियाणा में आके माफ कर दिया.
Okay.
और ये बोले हमारा मॉडल बढ़िया है.
Limited time. Reena Gupta, quick response, please.
अरे शहजाद पूना वाला, मतलब हंसी आती है आपकी बातों पे। जब आपने और पीडीपी ने मिलकर सरकार बनी थी तो वो कौन सा वो रिश्ता क्या कहलाता था? और करप्शन की तो आप बात मत करिए, खुद प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी कह रहे थे मोस्ट करप्ट पार्टी, और अगले दिन अजीत पवार को आपने डिप्टी सीएम बना दिया। तो आप तो थोड़ा शांति रहा करिए और अपना थोड़ा सा गिरेबान में झांक के देखा करिए किसी के बारे में कुछ और बोलने से पहले। जहां तक आम आदमी पार्टी का सवाल है, आप देखिए बढ़िया नतीजा आएगा, बढ़िया रिजल्ट आएगा, वी विल सी।
Okay. Reena Gupta, I'd like to thank you for joining us and responding to that. We have to take a very quick break. I'm going to request all our guests to stay on with us. We are going to be discussing Jammu and Kashmir on the other side and what really is going to happen there. There was a trend that was reported earlier in the evening. Has that changed this time round? That's a very big question. Join us for the poll of polls on Jammu and Kashmir in just a few moments. We're discussing the numbers coming out of Jammu and Kashmir, and this is quite a thriller because we were earlier given two exit polls that had called it out very clearly in terms of the numbers, but now the situation appears to be quite different. There are many possibilities emerging out of Jammu and Kashmir, and this has turned out to be quite a pot boiler. Why am I saying so? Take a look at these numbers. Just look at the first two sets of numbers on our screen over here, and the top two are the People's Pulse as well as See Voter. Look at the number of others and look at the clear majority being given, or at least close to clear majority being given to the National Conference and Congress's alliance with the CPM. People's Pulse gave them 48, See Voter gave them 40, BJP here at 25 and 30, PDP at 9 and 9, others only at 8 and 7. But there's something quite different happening if you look at these three sets of exit polls. Gulistan News, Dainik Bhaskar and Axis My India are giving 21, 18 and 16 to others. Now, why is this others number so important? Just take a look at the first column there. There you see that National Conference and Congress then is short of majority. 34 according to Gulistan News, 38 according to Bhaskar, Axis My India gives it 40. BJP then comes at 29, 25 and 29 again. PDP's numbers slightly reduced according to Gulistan News and Axis My India at 6 and 5. Bhaskar still predicting 9 over there, but could these independents become the big X factor in this election? This is a big question indeed. There are many views on this. And let me quickly go across to Mr. Abid Bir Magami. Mr. Magami, I want you to come in on this because this now means that it's not smooth sailing for the National Conference and the Congress. There's very much a possibility of the independents playing kingmaker.
नहीं, जो ये नंबर्स आप दिखा रहे हो इंडिपेंडेंट के, पहले तो ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता कि इंडिपेंडेंट 21 सीटों पे कामयाबी हासिल करे।
क्यों कह रहे हैं?
मैं आपको थोड़ा पीछे ले जाना चाहता हूं। 2009 में बीजेपी ने 11 सीटें ली जम्मू से और 2014 में वो 25 पे चले गए। आज 24 में जबकि डिलिमिटेशन भी हुआ, 370 भी हटाया, उसके बाद भी बीजेपी उन्हीं नंबरों पे रह रही है। वाई? इसलिए कि लोग समझ गए जितने भी पॉलिसी थी बीजेपी की वो लोगों को पसंद नहीं थी। बीजेपी को अपना ख्याल रखना चाहिए।
Can I ask you one question? I'm giving you the breakup of independents. It's not all independents. Some are the smaller parties. There's Sajjad Loan's party. There is Engineer Rashid's party. There is Altaf Bukhari and others. सवाल ये उठता है कि is it possible that the entire Valley vote has perhaps been splintered into all of these political parties as well, and that has become the X factor in this election, Mr. Magami?
नहीं, हमने असेंबली लोकसभा इलेक्शन में देखा हमने कि ये जितनी भी पार्टी थी ये तो जमानत भी अपनी बचा नहीं पाई। तो आज कैसे ये असेंबली में इतनी सीटें ले
शहजाद?
पहले तो Madhav, I have a little objection with you. You have said take the last three, but why are not taking C voter? It's 95 का assembly. Okay. And from 95 assembly perspective, even 44 is hung. There are two takeaways and then I will submit it to the floor. First takeaway, this could possibly mean what I have been saying from day one, that BJP could be single largest party for first time in Jammu Kashmir. It could very well be. It could very well be. Madhav, मुस्कुराइए, हो सकता है।
I have no problem with you. No, everybody is allowed. Everybody is allowed the perception, but we have to discuss the numbers.
We are discussing
one by one.
Just one last statement. One last statement. 1995 ही assembly में बैठेगा।
So we are saying 5 are already decided.
Okay.
We are not deciding anything. We are just leaving it to people. Second takeaway. Second takeaway. Second takeaway is that the fact that NC Congress, after coming together, 370I, which was not an election issue, actually it should not have been. After that also, if they can't reach halfway mark, that means people think governor rule is better than NC Congress.
Okay,
I want
yeah.
to say
Two
one thing,
takeaways.
because
Sabah.
Shehzad is denying. Now, when Omar Abdullah raised this 5 seats, the BJP, the Home Ministry denied it, saying it's inaccurate. But the BJP spokesperson here is saying it. So Shehzad, think again.
Quoted fact.
He's quoting fact. So he is saying that we are starting this election with +5 on the side of the
Okay.
BJP.
क्या आप ऐसे-
आप
Okay,
95
okay.
बोल रहे हो
सुनो,
nominated.
सुनो,
Okay, okay.
I
And
am
we have some
making
guests
another
from
point.
outside
Let me
as
correct
well.
my
Once
statement.
again.
Let me
correct
correct.
it.
Yeah,
Please
correct.
do.
Quickly.
Please do.
Let me correct. She has misquoted me. I said the assembly is 95. Therefore, even the C voter thing shows a hung assembly. That's all.
Because
I said.
five
All
are
right, all right, all
nominated.
right, all right. That's we stand corrected, Shehzad. You have a point over there. I'd also like to introduce KK Sharma, leader of the PDP, who's joining us from Jammu. We also have Sanjay Jha, author, joining us. What will the role that PDP will play, Mr. KK Sharma, if this is indeed the situation? Will the PDP then lean towards the National Conference and the Congress Party कि आपके पास बीजेपी का ऑप्शन अभी है?
हेलो
मिस्टर शर्मा, आपको आवाज आ रही है? I think we've lost our connection there. Let's
आवाज
quickly.
बीच में आपकी कट रही है, कुछ आवाज कट रही है.
सर, सिंपल सवाल यह है कि अगर इंडिपेंडेंस का बहुत बड़ा रोल होता है और इफ द कांग्रेस एंड एनसी अलायंस फॉल शॉर्ट ऑफ मेजॉरिटी, क्या पीडीपी उनको समर्थन देगी? क्या बीजेपी का ऑप्शन खुला है? पीडीपी क्या अब किंग मेकर बन सकती है इस चुनाव में?
ऐसा है कि सरकार तो हम जम्मू लोकल बनाएंगे, ये कंफर्म है. लोकल गवर्नमेंट विल बी लोकल, नॉट ए अदर. जो आप सेंटर बोल रहे हो किसी से, आई एम सॉरी.
लोकल से क्या मतलब है आपका?
ये हमारी पार्टी का डिसीजन है.
लोकल से क्या मतलब है आपका?
ये लोकल एनसी कांग्रेस वट एवर जो लोकल हमारी जो
कांग्रेस तो नेशनल पार्टी है
जो हमारा लोकल एनसी
Congress, PDP, what I've been saying from the beginning, that will be the
Congress,
formation. You know, this is PDP, no?
Yes,
He's
this is
saying
the PDP.
NC
Local,
Congress.
तो आप कह रहे हैं कि आपका समर्थन कांग्रेस एनसी अलायंस पे जाएगा?
नेशनल विल नॉट गो द बीजेपी.
You will not go with the BJP. We will not go with the BJP.
Yes,
Very interesting. Sweta Prakash, this is interesting. And you know, but the big X factor still is the independents. There are significant number of independents and smaller parties. Let's put it that way.
So it's an uncomfortable situation for the NC Congress to be in. If it's a clear mandate for the two of them, it would be perfect. But in this situation, they have to get a third element. Either get some people from the independent section. Can you imagine going with the Sajjad loan? I doubt it. So get independents who you can never know that abhi chale jayenge, kal ko chale jayenge. It can happen. The safety factor for them would be to go to the PDP. But for that, they have to bite the bullet. They have to be, they'll probably ask Dr. Saab ki aap jaiye to talk to Mehbooba and get it. Because Omar talking to Iltija is not going to work because they have had such a bitter election campaign. As far as what the PDP person is saying कि हम local government बनाएंगे, कैसे local बनाएंगे? Even if you do a Gupkar alliance, even then you don't have the numbers. You need the Congress, and the Congress is a national party. So whether it is the BJP or the Congress, there is a national element to the assembly which will come into force.
All right, Sanjay Jha is smiling, but Sanjay Jha, this is a serious issue because, you know, even in this election campaign, we saw Mr. Rahul Gandhi talk about local issues, talking about outsiders. You know, does it augur well for a national party of the stature of the Congress party to be raising such issues? Because that seems to be reflected in the rhetoric of the PDP spokesperson as well, Sanjay Jha.
Well, Madhav, what is the truth? The truth is that the BJP, which was in government after 2014, and has controlled Jammu and Kashmir through Delhi for the last 5 years, abrogated Article 370, statehood was changed, etc., etc. And for all the hype, they are not just getting wiped out in the valley, which was expected, but they're also actually not doing well in Jammu. And that is, I think, the biggest message of this election, that the people of Jammu and Kashmir, not just the Muslims who are living in the valley, but I think the Hindus and the Sikhs and the other diverse communities who live in Jammu are rejecting the BJP's political business model of divide and rule. I think the Jammu and Kashmir election is tectonic when you're going to see the results on the 8th.
Okay.
Even if I take your numbers that they're getting close, frankly speaking, assuming that average is right, they need just 2 or 3 more MLAs to form a government. So I think this is pretty much given, and it's a done and dusted result.
Well, there are some polls that are predicting far more than 2 or 3 MLAs. There are some that are giving it as much as 34 and 38, which means there's quite a bit of distance to go. I want to bring in Sushil Pandit on this. Sushil Pandit, it is a fact. After the abrogation of Article 370, after various groups from Valmikis to West Pakistan refugees who are voting for the first time, many would have thought that Jammu would have been a clean sweep for the BJP. But at least going by these numbers, Shehzad is still optimistic. Are you?
Yeah, I think BJP repeating its performance of 2014 would still be very creditable because, yes, victory of BJP in 2014 raised humongous expectations. And because BJP was pandering to the valley all this while, those expectations were belied and there was marked disappointment and Congress stood to gain. The point is Congress shot itself in the foot by aligning with National Conference, promoting their agenda and sending the voters of Jammu scurrying back to BJP. This is what has happened. And now BJP stands to gain from this alliance. National Conference Congress alliance was disastrous for Kashmir in 1987. It is going to be disastrous for both these parties in this election. What I see happening there in this election is that number of independents and smaller parties will win in the valley. They are not going to help form the government post-elections. Their only role is to stop parties from gaining enough seats to form government of an alliance or on their own. So they are going to force 2 large major blocks, one from Jammu and one from the valley, to come together and form a government. Their role will be of a splintered opposition and of creating a hung house, not help in forming the government because there will be too many of them to rely on for forming a stable government.
But where would your bets be, Sushil Pandit? Who is more likely to form the government in this kind of a hung house where the JK-NC appears to have a little bit of an advantage over the BJP?
See, NC may emerge as the largest bloc in the valley. Congress, having lost its opportunity in Jammu and having very few stakes in valley, may end up in very low double digits or perhaps single digits. So that will rule out a National Conference Congress alliance on its own. And even PDP would perhaps be lower single digits, not even 6 or 7. So even these 3 parties coming together will be an unstable alliance. However, with BJP in center and a solid block of 25, 26, even 29 seats, as some of these polls are giving, will offer a stability to the state government, and National Conference is likely to rely on this block.
So NC, BJP combine is what Sushil is hinting at.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Unfortunately, National Conference, ladies and gentlemen, has decided not to participate in the exit polls, and you saw the statement of Omar Abdullah earlier as well. It would have been great to get that comment. Shehzad, you want to respond to that?
Look, I want to just make a comment first on Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, to begin with, we were not very dominant in the Kashmir Valley. But you have to sit down and introspect that a party that claims to be a party that voices the entire concerns, you all played the 370 card, emotional card, which you can't bring back even if by mistake you win the election. You played that card, and yet you are competing against a bunch of independents. And you are celebrating and saying that this is a great victory for our alliance. On the other hand, Jammu is showing a very mature way of voting where they are saying that we are not voting on emotional issues, we are voting on roti, kapda, makan. In fact, you have tried every trick in the book to make Kashmir only an issue of emotional issues or vote on emotional issues, and there you don't talk about roti, kapda, makan, normal issues, and despite all of that, you are competing against a bunch of independents, and then you are saying we are doing great service to the cause of India. Boss, what is the stand of Congress party on reimposition of 370? What is the stand of Congress party on Arakshan being given to Valmiki? What is the stand of Congress party to talk to Pakistan? You can smile all evening, but the fact is, deal with it. BJP is becoming the largest party in Jammu Kashmir because we talk about people's issues.
Okay, Sanjay, many questions for you coming from Shehzad as well as Sushil Pandit. Quickly respond to them, please.
Madhav, I don't have to answer. The people of Jammu and Kashmir have already answered part of it in your exit poll, and the full truth, which you will get to know on the 8th of October. Take a deep breath, have some patience, my friend. But the panic signals were already out in the month of July. Actually, Madhav, if you pay attention, the government already passed rules to make sure that the next chief minister will have no powers because everything will rest with the lieutenant governor. Even the state's powers to carry out, various policies for tourism and properties and taxes were already being limited. So the BJP saw the writing on the wall long time back. And this defeat, by the way, is something that they ought to be actually prepared for.
Right.
The people of Jammu and Kashmir are rejecting you. Not just Kashmir, but the people of Jammu. And that's a lesson for the politics of hate over the last 10 years.
Right. One second. Okay.
We have not discussed.
Yeah, very quickly.
Why is the Jamaat, the Jamaat is a banned organization. We accept it's banned in Jammu and Kashmir. It's not banned everywhere in India. But Jamaat people are contesting and their posters are saying, if you go there, they're saying supported by Jamaat. Why has this been allowed in a state which has the highest military army presence? It was what the traditional parties will tell you. I'm only quoting them. They will tell you is that it is done to cut the votes of the traditional parties of J&K. Why is the Jamaat there? Is the Jamaat, Hizbul Mujahideen comes from the Jamaat.
Sushil referred to
No,
this as well.
Jamaat-e-Islami of Jammu and Kashmir is linked to Hizbul Mujahideen. Yes, they have been jailed, they have been broken, all of that. But now there is a very odd thing that's happened in Kashmir.
Okay, so you are accusing the BJP of playing some kind of politics. I'm going to come back to you, Shahzad. We have to take a very quick break. On the other side, the key factors in this election, a number of questions that are still unanswered, and of course, the very fact that there are two very different scenarios that appear to be emerging from these exit poll results. What are the big takeaways coming out of the Jammu and Kashmir exit poll? Let's take a quick look at them. The exit polls have predicted the likelihood of a hung assembly. The second key takeaway is that the centre and the BJP may be in a position to call the shots in case of a hung assembly. The third takeaway is the issue of statehood may remain in limbo in case of a fluid situation. There's also the fourth key takeaway that if there is a hung assembly, it remains to be seen if it will be a recipe for stability or instability. Fifth key takeaway is that independents could emerge as kingmakers in the event of a hung assembly. Let me quickly bring in Smita Prakash on this. Smita Prakash, very, very significant that these independents could play a key role, whether it's the Jamaat, whether it's the smaller parties. At the end of the day, you're going to see a very fragmented kind of a result that we're seeing here.
Independents have always played a role in Jammu Kashmir, but in this election, it is quite significant. Just before we took the break, we were talking about the Jamaat, then members of the Jamaat-e-Islami. Remember that they have taken part in elections before. It was that crucial election of 1987, the rigged election, which we have not discussed for hours on end. That election shaped the future for 30 years. The Jamaat members have gone to jail, have been persecuted. They really don't have much of a ground presence. There are very few of them. 2 or 3 seats is the maximum that we're going to talk about, but significant that they will be playing a role. And why should you? It's like, give a dog a bad name and hang it. That's not the right thing. If a prime minister could meet with the Yasin Malik, why can't the Jamaat be allowed to fight an election? First, if they can be proven that, yes, they are against, they were put under NIA, they were put into incarceration, they have come out, they fought the election. They have, so much so that Engineer Rashid has beaten an Omar Abdullah, right, in a free and fair election. Even Omar conceded that it was a shock to him. So let's not go away from the fact that they are significant in this election.
But he represents a point of view. That's the point being made. Yeah, Mr. Pandit?
See, Jamaat has been contesting J&K elections in the past. Gilani, Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani himself has been 3-time MLA on Jamaat-e-Islami ticket from Sopore. Okay. Jamaat decided not to contest elections. As part of Hurriyat, they gave for a boycott call of elections in order to delegitimize elections. Now that they are banned, now that they don't have the state power and they do not have the opportunity to fiddle with the powerful, the government from behind the scenes, they have decided to participate in the elections informally despite ban in order to get into the system and manipulate it from within. And that is why...
I'll just give you the ground from one seat. Let's take the seat of Pulwama, which was crucial in, as a symbol, Pulwama. In Pulwama, no, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about Pulwama. There is a Jamaat candidate. There was a guy from Engineer Rashid's party, and I met all of them. And he suddenly, last minute, he goes and joins the NC because he says, Look at the deals they are making. I was supposed to be here, now Jamaat is putting up a person, so how will I manage
So
it?
Jamaat is cutting into the NCPDP is what
I'm
essentially.
saying NDTV
Shahzad, is that a strategy?
from Jamaat.
Very quickly, is that a strategy? We're out of time. We're out of time. Very quickly, please. Yeah, very quickly.
NC is likely to win that seat.
Who banned Jamaat in the first place? It is our central government. They were not in favor of a ban of Jamaat. Secondly, we are always saying individuals ko bhi ban karo. They say no, no, no. How can individuals be banned? Now tomorrow she should accept that individuals should also be banned. She should not, means the Jamaat of this ecosystem should accept that individuals should also be banned, not just the organization.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Completely out of time. Shahzad Poonawala, KK Sharma, Sushil Pandit, Abir Veer Magami, Smita Prakash, Sabha Naqvi and Sanjay Jha. Thanks so much for joining us on this edition of the National Debate. All eyes, of course, on counting day. That is the 8th of October. And we'll have to see whether these projections actually turn out into reality. Thanks so much for joining us.